So it's 8 o'clock at night and I thought it'd be a good idea to start recording this video. Hello my beautiful butterflies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beverley and it's so lovely to see you today. In today's video we are going to be doing a review of this book about glamour magic and I'm so excited to dive into it. So grab that cup of tea, let's get to it. So this book is a little bit of an older book. I think it's from 2017 if I'm right. Yes, 2017 it was originally published. So it's a little bit older but not too bad. This is Glamour Magic, the Witchcraft Revolution to Get What You Want by Deborah Castellano. And the cover is absolutely beautiful. Really beautiful. And I love on the back that they've like, can you see? There's like bits that are like really shiny and bits that are matte. It's just really beautiful book. You'd expect nothing less from a glamour witch, of course. But I've got lots and lots of little bookmarks in here, so you know that I've got a lot out of it. I have my phone, because I'm very professional, and that's where I keep all my notes. Before we get to it though, I do just want to say that this book was bought with my own money. It's not been gifted to me. I have no association with the publishers or the author. I'm just a witch who loves reading books and likes sharing on the internet what she thinks. So yeah, if you enjoy that sort of content, stick around and hit subscribe. So this is another witchcraft book that at the end of each chapter or section it has like a little experiment or a spell or a ritual that you can try to get into the sort of things that you do as a glamour witch. I really enjoyed those. I thought they were so easy to do. They were the sort of thing that were very involved in like the moon and very involved in like planetary positionings and things like that. Very much like make things as beautiful as possible and opulence and all that kind of thing that comes along with glamour witchcraft, which I loved, but it didn't feel out of reach to me, probably because I thrift most of the things that I own. I see a lot of things that are like gold or crystal and I think, oh, I could use that to put my cream in, or I could put, you know, my jewellery in there and put a spell on it, and I think because of that it felt very accessible. However, for some people it might not be, so just bear that in mind, but I did enjoy those parts of the book. Also, they used a gender neutral term all the way through, which is other. So this was basically meaning anybody who doesn't fit into society and who wants to use glamour magic to change their circumstances or how they feel about themselves. And I really liked that. Being an other felt really nice. And they were basically talking about people who are disabled or people who just don't fit into society because of their gender or because of their being LGBTQ+, or, you know, whatever it was, or whether it's because they're not traditionally attractive and so they don't fit into this very superficial world that we live in. And I liked the other part of it because it does feel sometimes as witches that we don't fit into society and we are separate or other from the rest of society. So I really liked that term. I don't know how you feel about it, let me know. I did love as well that each chapter dove into a different historical figure and used that as an example of how somebody in history would have used glamour magic or might have used glamour magic. People like Anne Boleyn and Joan of Arc and the things that they did in order to change their circumstances, because that's what glamour magic is all about. And I loved that they had harkened back to some really big historical figures who had affected big change historically. People like Anne Boleyn, like, people claimed that she was a witch, but we don't know if she was a witch. If she was, glamour magic would have definitely been one of the main things that she would have done. And women in society in that time didn't have a lot of say in the world. They didn't have a lot of power, and yet she stepped forward, but she used what she had. She used the glamour around her in order to get the attention of the king, and that is something that has always like absolutely boggled me. I've always been kind of obsessed with Anne Boleyn. I think she's kind of this historical figure that just, I want to get inside her brain and pick about and see what happened and how it happened. And so reading this book and seeing these historical figures and how they might have used glamours to affect change, to see that written down and written so beautifully, like, oh, this woman needs to write some like beautiful historical fiction. I would love that. But it was just a really, really beautiful way to show how women could gain power and how we can gain power by using the things that they might have used back then. Thinking about how we dress, how we look, what we present ourselves as. I think, you know, I look around now and most women are wearing horrible baggy leggings that don't fit them with a big oversized t-shirt, and I just think, love yourself more, you know, get out there and wear that best dress and wear those clothes that you love, that make you feel good, instead of just wearing things that are not going to make you feel sexy and beautiful every day. And that's a big part for me of why I love Glamour Magic, because as a disabled woman, we're kind of othered in a way of, like, I've heard so many people, and it happened to me as well, when you're on dating apps, the first thing people ask is, oh, you're disabled, can you still have sex? Yeah, you'll never find out. Because it's kind of this thing that we're not seen as sexy or sensual or beautiful by society, this is. And so using Glamour Magic to make myself feel beautiful again and to not just feel like this othered thing that is a burden to society, you know, we're kind of given that. So seeing how women in the past had changed their circumstances and how they felt about themselves in order to exact change in the world, that made me feel really powerful. Glamour Magic can be so powerful, and it just felt really beautiful. I loved that part of the book. They explain magic like Glamour Magic, like going to war. And at first I thought, you know, I'm not this like battlefield kind of gal, you know, I'm very much stay at home and cozy up with a dog and a blanket kind of gal. But it made me feel powerful and dangerous, like a secret agent or something. I started to think about like the Black Widow from Marvel and things like that, and it made me reframe in my head how I see myself and how I see this kind of magic, and it just made me feel so much better. It started to really change how I felt about myself and how I will think about myself in the future as I'm getting dressed and picking out an outfit and doing my hair, etc. It just reframes it into being this dangerous undercover thing, and I love that. It just really made me feel more powerful than it had before, so I really, really enjoyed that. I also appreciated in this book that it wasn't written as if it's going to be easy. I think a lot of the time in witchcraft books it's kind of like, well, if you do this spell it'll happen like this. You know, it'll be really quick, be really easy. And that has never been my experience in this dimension. In other dimensions, things might work differently, but I feel like in this dimension, things are hard. You have to work hard for the dreams and the goals that you have in life. And so I really appreciate that it wasn't written as if it's going to be easy just because you're using Glamour Magic. You know, Anne Boleyn and Joan of Arc didn't have an easy time getting to their goals. You know, they had to do things that they probably didn't want to do, but they achieved their goals, and it really made me feel like more grounded in reality, like magic is weaved into every decision that we make, everything that we do as witches, and it made it feel more attainable in a strange way, like, oh yeah, of course it's going to be hard work, like just because I've put a spell on something doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And that really reframed things again in my head and made it feel more, grounded in reality. So the writing in this book is quite small. So again, if you struggle with reading or you have sight issues or like foggy days like I have, maybe get it on Kindle because of that. Also, the book doesn't really stay open, so you do need to use your hands a lot to read it. So again, if you have hand issues, just be aware of that. and get it on Kindle if you need to. That's why I love Kindle. Makes things more accessible. Or you can get it on audiobook. I'm sure they have audiobook as well. I also love that they often had little tips for anxious witches, because of course if you're losing Glamour Magic you have to get out there and talk to people. I am an anxious witch, and so I do struggle with talking to people. I find that putting glamours on me before I go out and doing spellcraft on myself before I go out really helps me being able to talk to people. And that's the way she spoke about it in the book. Just like, if you're anxious, you know, think of this as a cloak of protection, or a cloak that's going to change the way people see you. And that felt really good. It's nice to feel seen as an anxious witch. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I am delving into older witchcraft books now. I do find myself reaching and looking up older books. This is a really, really good book. I will as always leave links to this book and the author down below, so you can have a look, check it out, see if that's something you're interested in. But as you can see, lots of bookmarks, of course. So what are we going to be reading next? And I have this book for us to read. This is Strix Craft, Ancient Greek Magic for the Modern Witch by Oracle Hekateos. Sure. I'm probably going to butcher that name. I need to look up how to say their name. But I will obviously leave information about this book down below. But this is another Greek witchcraft book. The author did leave a comment on my picture about in January there will be another edition of this book with an extra chapter, and I was like, great, but I will get that probably on an ebook. But I will let you know, everybody, what I think of this book, because I think it's important to delve into your cultures and your ancestors' cultures and find what calls to you. And I do feel really called to Greek magic. There's not a lot of information. It's so funny that suddenly all these Greek books are coming out. I love the illustration on the front. It is beautiful. So there you go. That's my review. Let me know down below if you have read either of these books or you're going to read them. I am really, really excited to read the next book. I definitely find myself called more and more to Greek magic, and I don't really know a lot about it. I'm reading a book about the Pantheon at the moment by Stephen Fry, and that is really hard to read. Oh my goodness, it's taken me a long time to get through that book. There's a lot to the whole Pantheon. It's a lot, but I'm enjoying delving into it. So I hope you're enjoying this delving into that I'm doing, and you're following along with me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave it a cheeky little like and a comment down below, so I know and the YouTuberverse know that you enjoyed it, and they will share it out just that little bit more. While you're at it, if you're not yet, please hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell so you always know when I upload. I am going to be here twice a week in the coming month, but at the moment I'm only here usually on a Friday, but sometimes on a Monday. So take care everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful magical week. Bye.